Here we are with our calendar layout complete, ready to set up our print job for final export. As I mentioned earlier, my preferred method of finishing a project like this is to hand it off to a print service. As with Photoshop itself, there are always multiple ways to handle this, even with the two options provided by Lightroom up here in the first line, Print To. I'll keep it simple and most applicable for the majority of people intending to build a calendar package like this. First, I'll select the JPEG file option. This is because I intend to export my project as a package I can either upload online or take to my local copy center on a thumb drive for them to print for me. Next, I will set the file resolution to 300 ppi. Most services will request 300 pixels per inch, just as desktop printers generally require. Then, because my preferred paper stock has a matte surface, I set the media type to that option, and I always have the JPEG quality set for a factor of 100, the maximum allowable. I also make active the print sharpening option here and set that to standard. Lightroom has a sophisticated sharpening plugin, PhotoKit Sharpener, built in. Using my favorite paper for this sort of project, the Wausau Paper's Pegasus cover stock I mentioned in the first screencast, my final results look almost as if I had an offset printing service produce my calendars, not my local quick print store. With my intention to export this project as a series of JPEGs to a retail print shop, I would suggest you select the sRGB profile and perceptual as your rendering intent in the color management section of the print job panel. Now click on the Print to File button at the bottom of the right column, and Lightroom will have your Mac open a Finder window, your PC an Explorer window. Navigate to an appropriate place to create your project folder. I chose my desktop as a temporary spot. I will choose a better place later when it's time for me to archive the project for use again. Before taking my files to the print shop, I want assurance that my layout looks just as I intended to. So on my Mac, I select the 6 JPEG files Lightroom generated for this calendar and open them in the Preview application. I'll cycle through the series like this. I'll zoom in to show you the cut lines Lightroom generates as guides we can use for trimming out each of the pages that will eventually fit inside the CD jewel case display. These are extremely important for us to have in place for the trim out process, which I recommend you do on your own. I say this because last year I had my normally spot-on print service technician trim out all my 2013 calendars, and the results of his trim on hundreds of pages all at once was really disappointing. Trim these finished calendar pages individually yourself and avoid the headache I experienced. Though this will certainly add to the overall time you invest in producing these jewel case calendar sets, the time is well spent. The results, if you're careful with your trimming, looking like something you'd buy in an art gallery gift shop. Now, if you plan to print this project utilizing your desktop printer instead, then I would suggest you choose the Print to JPEG file option for exporting your print job from Lightroom. While it is possible to the trained eye perhaps to see a difference on a large print made from a lossless file format like TIFF versus the same image printed from a JPEG file instead, on small-scale images like those we are producing here you will never notice the difference, and neither will your gift recipients. And an assignment like this really does not merit your spending the sort of money one would certainly choose to invest in printing, say, a single small image for exhibition on well-respected fine art papers. These advanced specialty papers all have custom profiles for use with archival quality inkjet printers in order to achieve most accurate color, contrast, and tone reproduction for prints. We're not making fine art exhibition prints here, though. As I noted in the first of the pair of screencasts, purchase a very smooth, hard surface card or cover stock paper, heavy enough so that when trimmed, each calendar page could easily stand up on their own, unlike writing paper. If you're able to create your own paper profiles for your printer, that's great. You can expect to have a more satisfactory result printing on less expensive papers. But do not expect to find printer-specific paper profiles for consumer or wholesale brand papers. Another plus to working with your local print center is that they normally have a professional-grade rotary trimmer available for customers to use in trimming out projects they produce there. Once you get the hang of it, you can make short work of this process. Trust me when I tell you this is much easier and more efficient than using an X-Acto knife and ruler instead. You can see examples of both my 3:2 aspect ratio calendar set and a second calendar set utilizing images that include square crop and narrow rectangle crop images at the links included below in the About section for this video. That link will also provide you the download of my calendar template and the 12 months of the year I designed for 2014 you can use for your project too. I would be interested to see what you guys create for yourselves. You can always post to my Google Plus page. Good luck and enjoy the process of making these wonderful desktop-sized calendars to share with others for the holidays.